Hey guys, what's up? This is me, Sean from pt.1, YouTube consistent Pete. And today I have the Samsung Galaxy 4G for T-Mobile. It's the Samsung Galaxy S. Basically for T-Mobile, they had the Vibrant, but this is basically the upgrade to it. So real quick, I'll give you a hardware tour. There's a 5 megapixel camera on the back that takes 720p video capture, and you can see there's a nice sort of plastic battery cover on the back, and you also have a speaker grill. You have your Galaxy S branding, and on the right side you have a volume rocker and a lanyard strap, I believe. On the top you have your micro USB port, and also a 3.5mm headphone jack. But one really cool thing is it has this little latch to cover it. On the right side you have a power on off button with a lock button, and on the bottom you have a microphone, and you can take the back cover off by putting your finger there. 1 minute guys, let me just see if I can get this off for you guys. There you go. And you can see here that you get your SIM card, micro SD card, which comes with a 16 gigabyte micro SD card, and then you have your battery, which is of size 1,650 milliamp hours. So you can see the black covered plastic. So let me just put it back on real quick. There we go. And I'll turn it on. Real quick, I'll tell you guys about the internals of the device. Let me turn it off for a fresh boot. Real quick, I'll tell you guys about the internals of the device. There's a 1 gigahertz Snapdragon 45nm chipset inside. I'm sorry, not Snapdragon, it's Samsung's own ARMTX A8 chipset, Hummingbird. The GPU is a PowerVR SGX 540 GPU, which currently is the best GPU on a mobile phone. You also have in the device 1 gig of ROM, and the Samsung Vibrant has 16 gigs of ROM. This only has 1 gig of ROM with a micro SD card of 16 gigs, so 17 total gigs. And the original Samsung Vibrant has 16 gigs of ROM, and it had 2 gigs of onboard, or 2 gig micro SD card. So there's 512 megabytes of RAM, and there is Bluetooth 2.1 with EVR and HDP support, Wi-Fi 802.11, AB, GNN, some normal suspects there. So real quick, I'll give you a tour of the front. You have light and proximity sensors, a speaker grill, a front-facing VGA 0.3 megapixel camera for video chat, and you have your T-Mobile branding. Below that is your Samsung branding. Your home, or your menu, home, back, and search buttons are capacitive, and they're below that. And this is a 4-inch WVGA, which is 800 down by 480 across, super AMOLED screen. So very, very nice picture and color reproduction. So if you guys will hold on 1 minute, let me take out 2 phones to compare it with. Actually 4, or a few phones here. So these are some that you might be familiar with. So here we got these MyTouch 4G. So I'll line them up. BlackBerry Torch. Then you also have the MyTouch 3G Slide here, and the Motorola Atrix 4G. I'll do this review. You'll probably see this one up as soon as it goes up with that one. So you can see the two here, and I'll show you guys them comparison wise. So first I'll give you guys a view of the MyTouch 4G. You can see the MyTouch 4G is a bit thicker. It also is a lot heavier. You guys can't see that, but it's heavier. And the 4G, the Galaxy S 4G, is wider and longer. The Torch, you can see, is a bit not as long. Not as lengthy, but it's also wider than the Galaxy S, and it's considerably thicker. But you gotta realize it also has a slide-out keyboard. Then we have the MyTouch 3G Slide here. Oops, wrong phone. So you guys can see the difference between this. so it's definitely thicker. The MyTouch 3G slide is shorter and not as wide as the Galaxy S 4G. And lastly, the Atrix 4G, you can see, is considerably smaller in all dimensions and thickness. So now, let me just show you guys the operating system, and I'll turn on the phone and give you guys a nice little boot up. On contract, if you were to buy this from a Costco wireless store, it'll be $49.99 with a new 2-year agreement, and $799.99 with a 2-year add-a-line, and $799 with a 2-year qualified line. And they typically have a better deal than the carriers because you'll be able to get a case and a Bluetooth charger, and usually the prices are also cheaper than if you were to buy this from, for example, T-Mobile. So you can see the lock screen, and I'm just going to let this boot up and everything. So the big brand new features are the front-facing camera for video chat, and you're also getting a set of, this is the first T-Mobile device that supports 21 megabits per second down. All the other 4G devices, such as the MyTouch 4G, only supported 14.4 megabits down. This is the first that supports 21.1 megabits down. And then you got the back cover change on the Vibrant. So it says this is TouchWiz 3.0 on top of Android 2.2 Furlio. It's going to be more than likely an upgrade to Gingerbread, and people are saying that the Galaxy S devices will get it before the other devices because the Nexus S, the second only phone that's running Gingerbread right now, has Gingerbread on it, and they're basically identical hardware. So I'll slide to unlock to open up the screen, and you can see nice interface. So I have the Nexus Live wallpaper running. It comes with some preloads like Inception, the movie, which you can watch the full-length movie on this nice Super AMOLED screen. It looks very nice in comparison. So real quick, I'll just show you the Atrix 4G and the MyTouch 4G right next to each other, right next to the Galaxy S 4G. So you can see the difference between the two right here. You can see it looks very nice. The screen, oops, just turned off there. The screen looks a lot better in comparison. So let me see if I can get a picture of the same thing pulled up. And it'll just be black, so I'm going to have both cameras facing directly down. And you're going to see the comparison in the blackness of the screen. You can see clearly these are very grayish hues, where this is very, very saturated black. And also the colors and just the saturation look unmatched and unrivaled with the Super AMOLED panel. The only bad thing is the pixel density is different because they use a system known as the pentile system, which switches between red, blue, and green blue, if I'm not mistaken. So you're basically getting 2 pixels compared to LCD, where they have all 3 pixels, or all 3 colors combined in each pixel. Which is going to be fixed with the new display, the Super AMOLED Plus display that's coming out later in the year with Samsung. It's going to be fixing that problem mainly. So I'll show you guys the user interface and part 2 of this video. So this is Sean from pt.1.com. YouTube time says send Pete, and stay tuned for part 2.